And after 2 months of pressing, the WAAY 31I team learned more about a parole officer at the center of a triple murder investigation in Guntersville and the mistakes that led up to it.
The I team obtained the personnel file for parole officer Brian Robinson. He's the parole officer for accused murderer Jimmy Spencer. And we discovered the board considers Robinson an excellent employee.
But Spencer, who was paroled from a lifelong sentence, walked away from a reentry program, arrested on drug charges, and nothing else was done until he was already in jail again, charged with killing 3 people. WAAY 31's Brecken Terry has been breaking new details on this story since it started. She's live from the Franklin County Courthouse, where Spencer's rap sheet dates back to the 80s, and people there want to know more about Robinson and why action is not being taken.
Spencer's parole officer worked as a correctional officer for the state for about 8 years before he became a parole officer. Now, the Pardon and Parole Board has not told us what Brian Robinson's workload is, but people here and people in Guntersville want to know how Spencer fell through the cracks. The WAAY 31I team filed an open records request for Robinson's personnel file to see if anything like this happened in his other cases. From the documents included in the file, it hasn't. Robinson became a parole officer in 2016 after spending almost a decade as a correctional officer. The parole board gave him an exceeding expectations mark in May for his work, but he only met standards when it came to investigating an offender's personal, social, legal history and current circumstances. But he was never written up or disciplined. The situation frustrates Franklin County District Attorney Joey Rushing.
You know, obviously, I think everyone would like to know what the outcome of their investigation is, because, you know, things like this should never happen.
Police in Sardis arrested Spencer in June and sent his information to the parole board, but Robinson didn't follow up until 3 weeks later. Spencer was already out of jail. Robinson's notes show he was talking with Spencer from January until his June arrest, but it's unclear if he knew Spencer's location after he walked away from a reentry program 3 weeks after his release.
And the fact that those were not good enough to ever have anybody file a motion or even to put a hold on somebody that was found in their jail is obviously something that everybody would like to know what the results of that investigation is.
As of now, all we know is Robinson is still on the job as the parole board does an internal investigation.
So that's why it's so important that we get answers in this case.
Now, the only disciplinary actions taken against Robinson happened when he was a correctional officer, once when he didn't show up for work and another time when he was late for work. Live in Franklin County, Brecken Terry, WAAY 31 News.